Hello everyone. It's time for me to hop on live again because I have got something that actually happened in my life that is just so funny. It actually happened with my kids, and how funny it is that I can apply so much that happens with my kids to my own life. And once again, I have to stop and just sort of laugh because I don't think there is any way that I can turn this camera without there being some sort of an animal in the background. So I'm just being real here, and just hope you guys are used to this setting because there's always going to be a set of antlers or something over my shoulder. Anyway, so what's been happening with me, with my kids lately, and actually it's probably any parent out there, is what time is it? It is time for finals. It's nearing finals week. It's nearing the end of the semester, and for my older two, it's them ending their freshman year at college and reevaluating what if they're going to stick with the major that they chose when they first went into college. And it's very, very stressful for them. And as they're going through this, I'm able to learn some things about myself. And I love that. I love that it doesn't matter how old we are, we can learn so much through other people and other situations if we're sensitive to things that are happening around us. So what I'm learning from them, not only am I able to turn around and help them apply some things to their life, but I'm actually applying some things to mine. So what I've got one in particular who is weighing whether or not to stick with the major that he had set out to do at the beginning of this year. So some of the things that I brought up to him are things that I can very well bring up to myself. So I came up with some things that, what are some telltale signs of successful people? Because what college student or what adult doesn't want to be successful, right? What college student doesn't want to look to the future and know that they're going to be successful? So I was able to bring some things back to kind of focus some things for my sons, and in the same time focus them for me. And I was able to pick out some things that I believe are telltale signs of successful people. Now this is only my opinion, so you might have other thoughts on this. So this is just from Lynn's brain and mouth out to you guys. But one thing that I have noticed is success is not always tied in to what your IQ is. And isn't that great? And really, if we know people, if we can stop and think, we can think of the smartest person, the smartest book smart person that we know, and we can probably pick out a few that aren't successful. So IQ does not always have to do with your success. And here's something that I recently came across. I love TED Talks. Does anybody out there listen to TED Talks or watch TED Talks like I do? But I love TED Talks. I love learning. I love listening to other people that aren't, necessarily like me, but we can learn so much from others. But on a TED Talk that I listened to, it was just about this statement that IQ is not always equivalent to success. And here's what the speaker came up with. She and a group of people did a study with cadets that entered the military, inner city school teachers, or teachers that were in maybe not so safe of a place. They did a test on spelling bee, students who were going to be in a spelling bee. They did a test on salespeople, and they did a test on students in schools that were not the safest. And they were checking to see if 1 year, what percentage of those people would stick with their military, the cadets, the teachers, the students, the spelling bee people, and the sales. Who was going to stick with it? And what they found out, that it had nothing to do with their looks, their physical fitness, their social intelligence, how well they got along with other people and how they were able to get along, to use body language and things like that. It had nothing to do with their IQ. None of that. The ones that stuck with it in those instances were the ones that had passion, were the ones that persevered, were the ones that had grit. I love that word. I actually bought my kids a college gift, a tiny little gift, and it was just called From Grit to Great. It's a great book if you haven't read that. But anyway, it was who was passionate, who persevered, who stuck with something no matter how many times they failed, who had grit, and who was willing to fail and to pick themselves back up. So that's one of the first things that I was able to share with my sons, and really to keep in my mind, that it has nothing to do with your IQ. Success does not always equivalent how smart you are. Now, I have to say that I am not giving people out there, my permission is not, doesn't matter, but I'm not saying not to study, not to be a good student. My husband and I always told our kids that your first job in school is that you're a student. So we are huge proponents for getting good grades. But it's not your IQ, your intelligent quotient, that's going to make you successful. The second thing that I came up with is to be, and again, this was from a TED Talk, was to be a master at 10,000 hours. And what that means is that people that are the most successful put in about 10,000 hours of practice. If you think about Michael Jordan, how many baskets he has thrown, how many times the gymnasts are on the bar, are doing whatever they need to do, the ice skaters on the ice. People have to put in the hours, myself included. When in my business, if I have to stand up and present to people or do a training call or put myself out there, I'm putting in the hours. I'm putting in my working toward my 10,000 hours. So I was able to remind my sons that when you're thinking about these big moves in college and what you're going to change your major to, are you going to change your major? What are you going to do? Don't forget that your success in the future is still going to be tied to how many hours practice are you going to put into your craft, whatever that be. Another sign that I feel is so prevalent, such a telltale sign of somebody that's successful, is that they have succeeded at failing. Failing means you learn, and learning means you improve, right? How many times we fail means we're improving, and then we're going to just get better at things. So again, I was reminding my kids that you're going to fail, you're going to make mistakes, you are going to probably take a wrong class in there or something like that, and it's okay. Pick yourself back up, dust yourself off, and know that you've just improved. We can't always be on top of the mountaintop, right? Our best growth is when we fail. And then the last thing, and this is for me as well, and even the failing comment. I fail all the time, and I've got to pick myself back up. But one thing that I think every single person, whether this is for business or just life in general, is to have a mentor. To have a mentor that's going to hold us accountable. I've told my sons that at college many times. Who are you hanging out with? Who do you have to talk to? Not somebody that's just going to give you the answers that you want to hear, but who's going to hold you accountable? Who's going to hold your feet to the fire? Who's going to question your actions? And that's the same thing for me and for any adult. I don't care how old you are. To find yourself an accountability mentor that's going to hold your feet to the fire, that's going to question you and maybe strategize and pick some things out that they would suggest. I love this quote, and then I'm going to be done. It says, if you want to go fast, then go alone. But if you want to go far, then go together. And that's just another reminder to pick somebody in life to mentor you, to link arms with. You can go fast and be by yourself, or you can go slow and be really good at what you're doing and go together. So that's it. Thanks a lot for watching. I don't know if you got anything out of this, but maybe one person did. But anyway, let me know what you thought about it. If you watch some TED Talks that you love, I'd love to hear about them because, like I said, I'm sort of a sponge on TED Talks and learning and love to better myself. Have a great day.